So a little background here on physics. The zeroth law of thermodynamics states that if two systems are each in thermal equilibrium with a third system, then they are in thermal equilibrium with each other. So another way of saying this is that if object A is in thermal equilibrium with object B, and object B is in thermal equilibrium with object C, then object A must also be in thermal equilibrium with object C. Now, that's a lot of words, but what it essentially means is that it sets the precedent that temperature, there is a variable or a measure, in which in this case it is temperature, that enables all the other laws and all the other interactions to take place. That is the determining factor whether or not equilibrium exists or heat transfer will occur. So what we're proposing is a physiological corollary, which is that if the internal physiological environment is in a state of thermal equilibrium, then the body can maintain homeostatic stability. So the consequence is that if it is not in a state of thermal equilibrium, so that's when we start talking about extreme hyper or hypothermia, then the body is no longer able to maintain homeostasis. Now, homeostasis, or at least within those thresholds, is where performance really happens. Now, humans are complex systems, and physiological responses are nonlinear, and there are compounding variables that underlie all aspects of human physiology. So it's a system of systems of systems, and it's very complicated. And it's impossible to just point A to B and say that there is direct correlation between one thing and the other. However, there is extensive literature that has shown that even small deviations in core temperature can result in significant decreases in the downstream derivative performance outcomes, such as muscular endurance, motor coordination, reaction time, and cognitive function. So what this is saying, and what's being proposed in the zeroth law of physiology, is that thermal equilibrium is a precondition of high output, of high performance. So it's really a gatekeeper. The thermal conditions dictate physiological capacity. You have to maintain or stay within those thermal boundary conditions. And for that reason, it's analogous to the zeroth law of thermodynamics, that it governs all subsequent laws and energy flow.